So it's time to start. I hope you can see me and you can hear me as well. Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is András, and I am representing Capture, a ServiceNow partner company. I am an ITSM senior consultant with experience in implementing ServiceNow CMDB and asset management solutions across a wide range of sectors, including manufacturing and public administration as well. Over the years, I have successfully led numerous projects focused on both hardware and software asset management. In the next 30 minutes, I try to guide you through on a journey to what we call IT asset management, showing you that it isn't just about tracking your laptops and servers, but about creating a genuine business value at every stage of your assets lifecycle. But here's what makes today's session particularly valuable. We are not just going to talk about ITAM in isolation. You'll discover what happens when you integrate ITAM with other platform modules like strategic portfolio management, so-called SPM. This is where organizations start seeing transformational returns in their ServiceNow investment. Whether you are just beginning to think about formalizing your asset management processes or you are looking to optimize existing asset capabilities, today's session will provide you with practical insights and real-world examples you can apply immediately in your organization. So let's dive in and discover how ServiceNow ITAM can align your technology investments with your business goals while maximizing asset value and minimizing risk. But before we explore these powerful capabilities, let me start with the so-called safe harbor, then introduce Capture and explain why we are uniquely positioned to guide you through on this ITAM transformation. So it's an important information for everyone that this webinar will be recorded and the participants will receive recording. Your microphone is muted and the webcam is disabled during the webinar. There will be a Q&A session at the end. You can issue your questions in the Q&A during the webinar. Our colleagues will answer it, or we will discuss them at the end if necessary. So about the company I've been working with, Capture. Capture is an ecosystem partner for over 15 years. And in that time, this experience has had the privilege of working with large enterprise customers across diverse industries, from manufacturing and financial services to telecommunications and healthcare. This breadth of experience has given us an invaluable insight into how different sectors approach IT asset management and where the most common pain points are. This slide represents our core competency areas, and you can see we are not just ITAM focused. We believe that using different solutions of the platform together can be a real powerful business enabler. We currently maintain over more than 35 ServiceNow certifications across our Budapest, Hungary-based team covering ITSM, ITAM, and so on. This isn't just about having certifications on paper, it's about having a deep hands-on expertise on how these modules work together in real-world scenarios. So let me show you the full scope of ServiceNow capabilities we can help you to integrate with ITAM. After that, we will go into the today's scenario details, I promise. So this slide illustrates why integration creates such powerful business value. Moving around, you can see project management services that align investments with business strategy, enterprise architecture that maps business capabilities to technology, core service management, asset lifecycle management, infrastructure operation, and so on. At the center, automation and AI capabilities enhance each of these areas. And here's the key insight. Each of these areas generates data and manages processes that naturally interconnect. When project managers need hardware for new initiatives, those requests flow through asset management processes. When architects design new applications, the infrastructure requirements fed into both asset procurement and operations management. Another example, when service desk teams handle incidents, they are often working with assets tracked in the system. Rather than implementing these capabilities in isolation, we design integrated solutions. At the bottom, you can see our 4 delivery approaches: licensing, implementation, optimization, and alpha augmentation. This flexibility means that we can meet you wherever you are in your platform journey. Today, we are focusing specifically on asset management, but keep this broader ecosystem in mind as we explore how these connections transform ITAM from a simple inventory system into a strategic business capability that drives real organizational value. So with this short service portfolio in mind, let's focus now specifically on IT asset management. I want to start by making sure we understand what ITAM truly represents in today's business environment, because this goes far beyond traditional inventory tracking. You see this definition on the screen: aligns technology investments with business goals while maximizing asset and minimizing risk. Let me explain why this matters more than ever in today's competitive landscape. Most organizations treat asset management as a simple compliance exercise, something you do to satisfy auditors or meet regulatory requirements. The challenge is that this reactive approach actually costs millions in lost opportunities and hidden inefficiencies. Consider this scenario. Your organization invests heavily in a new infrastructure for a digital transformation initiative. Traditional approaches focus on gradually both the right equipment and the right price. But strategic asset management asks different questions, and they will all start with how. Like, how do these investments accelerate your business objectives? How can you optimize their utilization throughout their life cycle? How do you minimize operational risk that could disrupt customer experience? Sounds interesting, isn't it? When we talk about maximizing asset value, we mean extracting business benefit from every technology dollar throughout the entire life cycle. When we discuss minimizing risk, we are addressing everything from security vulnerabilities to unexpected downtime that could impact revenue. The difference between tactical and strategic asset management is transformational. Tactical approach react to problems after they occur. Strategic approaches prevent problems by enabling new business capabilities. ServiceNow IT Asset Management transforms this from a spreadsheet-driven administrative burden into a data-driven business capability that connects directly to your strategic planning, project execution, and operational excellence initiatives. So, after this introduction, let's explore exactly how this alignment happens through what we call the ITAM value journey, a four-phase approach that transforms every asset into a strategic business enabler. Looking at this diagram, you can see why we call this the ITAM value journey. This isn't just a process flow, it's a comprehensive business framework where each phase builds value that enhances all the others. Starting with purchase, this phase creates immediate value through informed cost efficiency investments that align with business strategy. Rather than reactive buying, you get strategic sourcing that fits both technical requirements and budget constraints while supporting broader organizational objectives. The use and maintenance transforms asset into reliable service enablers. Consistent care and performance monitoring minimize downtime by driving business continuity. This phase protects your investments by ensuring assets deliver predictable value throughout their productive life. Inventory and optimization provides the intelligence layer. With complete visibility into asset usage and health, organizations extract maximum value by reallocating underused resources and ensuring optimal return on each investment. This visibility enables data-driven decisions rather than guesswork. Disposal preserves value even at lifecycle end through secure decommissioning and environmental responsibility. This phase protects organizational reputation by often recovering residual value through proper asset disposition. Notice the critical insight here. This operates as a continuous cycle, not a linear sequence. Disposal data informs better purchase decisions. Optimization insights improve maintenance strategies. Usage patterns guide procurement planning. Each phase generates intelligence that enhances the others. When organizations implement this as an integrated capability rather than a separate processes, they achieve something remarkable. Every technology investment becomes a strategic asset that contributes to business objectives uh, throughout its entire life cycle while generating data that improves future investment decisions. So in the next slides, let's start by diving deep into each of these phases and see how ServiceNow transforms, for example, procurement from a reactive process into a strategic business capability. So let's start with purchase. The business problem here affects virtually every organization I work with, regardless of size or industry. Picture this common scenario. Different departments buying similar equipment for different vendors at varying price because there's no central visibility into purchasing decisions. Project teams bypassing procurement policies entirely when the timeline gets tight, creating shadow IT that becomes a security and compliance nightmare. Simple laptop purchases taking even 6 weeks because they get trapped in email-based approval chains with unclear ownership and manual hands-off. These aren't just operational inconveniences. They represent strategic business risks. Fragmented procurement eliminates your negotiating power with vendors, prevents you from optimizing technology spend, and worst of all, disconnects your assets investments from your business priorities. ServiceNow transformed this chaos into a structured, policy-compliant acquisition through automated workflows and centralized vendor engagement. But let me show you what this looks like in practice rather than theory. Project manager in your portfolio management system identifies that the new customer portal initiative needs 20 laptops with specific security configurations. Instead of starting an email chain and hoping for the best, the system automatically generates standardized asset requests using pre-approved specifications. These requests flow through intelligent approval workflows that route to appropriate stakeholders based on cost thresholds and business rules. Purchase orders generate automatically, and the entire process maintains complete traceability. The integration creates an exponential value. Those asset requests link directly to the originating project for accurate cost tracking. Specifications get validated against enterprise architecture standards for technology compliance. When assets arrive, they automatically register in a configuration management database for immediate lifecycle management. Looking at the common pitfalls, notice how much relate to integration gaps. When procurement tools operate in isolation from asset management systems, you get data silos. When approval workflows rely on manual processes, you get delays and errors. When vendor catalogs aren't centrally maintained, you get duplicates or outdated information. This 5-step journey represents a fundamental shift from reactive purchasing to strategic cost planning. So this is purchase, but now let me show you a concrete example of how this purchase capability creates exponential value when integrated with strategic portfolio management of ServiceNow. This is an example. Your organization approves a major digital transformation initiative through the portfolio management process. The project timeline is aggressive, business impact is significant, and executive visibility is high. Everything looks perfect until week 3, when the project team realizes they're still waiting for basic infrastructure because nobody initiated procurement until the execution phase began. This infrastructure bottleneck kills more strategic projects than poor planning or insufficient funding. The challenge isn't just the delay itself, it's the cascading effects. Delayed hardware means delayed testing environments, which means delayed deployment cycles, which means missed market opportunities, and so on, as well as frustrated stakeholders questioning IT's ability to support business objectives. Traditional approaches treat asset procurement as a reactive afterthought that happens after project approval. The integration between ITAM and strategic portfolio management makes procurement a proactive component of project planning itself. When a project moves into planning phase, the system analyzes resource requirements and automatically triggers that asset request through established procurement workflows. The project manager defines team size and technical requirements during the initiation. The system calculates that you need 15 laptops with specific configurations, 3 development servers, and network equipment for testing environments. These requirements become procurement requests that flow through approval processes while the project team finalizes detailed plans. Project launch schedule with all the necessary hardware in place, avoiding fireable purchases that needs expensive expedited orders. Beyond speed, you get improved procurement governance because every asset purchase links to specific business initiatives. Cost tracking becomes accurate because project budgets include realistic infrastructure costs from the beginning. Procurement files get distributed across your planning timeline rather than concentrated at execution phases. This integration eliminates urgent, expensive purchasing that happens when projects suddenly discover infrastructure needs. Instead, you get predictable, governed asset acquisition that supports business objectives rather than creating bottleneck. So this is one of the important benefits of this phase. Now let's move to the second phase of the value journey, which is called use and maintenance, where proactive asset management becomes the foundation for business continuity. This phase addresses one of the most costly mistakes organizations makes with their technology investments, and it's completely preventable. Most organizations excel at initial deployment. They invest heavily in new infrastructure, execute successful rollouts, and celebrate project completion. But then something dangerous happens. They assume the hard work is finished. 6 months later, nobody monitors how these assets are performing. 12 months later, when something breaks, there's a confusion about ownership and warranty status. 1.5 years later, performance degrades, but problems are discovered only when users start complaining. This is a reactive approach which transforms strategic technology investments into operational liabilities. Every server, laptop, and network device represents a financial investment that should generate predictable returns throughout its useful life. When assets aren't properly maintained and monitored, organizations essentially allow these investments to depreciate faster when delivering less value than they are capable of providing. ServiceNow transforms this through proactive performance monitoring, routine servicing, compliance check, and intelligence lifecycle management. The service connects IT operations with asset management to create real-time visibility and automated responses that prevent problems before they impact business operations. Consider a critical database server tracked in your asset management system. Through integration with operations monitoring tools, the system continuously tracks performance metrics, temperature, disk usage, and health indicators. When thresholds are reached, the system automatically creates maintenance records in the asset lifecycle history, triggers preventive maintenance workflows, and updates asset health status in real time. The integration intelligence extends throughout your ServiceNow system. If that server supports specific applications in your architecture repository, the system proactively notifies application owner about potential impacts. If it's associated with particular project in portfolio management, project managers receive early warnings about potential resource constraints. This transforms asset maintenance into a business risk management. This represents a fundamental shift from reactive to proactive asset management, where every maintenance action contributes to both asset longevity and business continuity while generating intelligent technical future technology decisions. Let me show you an example here as well, how this use and maintenance capability solves a critical business program when integrated with project management workflows. There's an integration scenario that addresses one of the most overlooked and expensive problems in enterprise technology management. What happens to project assets after the project completes? While this might seem like a simple operational issue, the financial and operational implications are actually enormous. Let me walk you through the typical organization pattern. A major project gets approved through your portfolio management process, perhaps a new customer portal initiative. The project team procures servers for development, testing environments, mobile devices for field testing, and specialized network equipment for pilot rollouts. The project delivers successfully and receives recognition as a business achievement. But then these assets enter what I call the accountability void. The project team disbands. The project manager moves to new initiatives, and suddenly nobody maintains clear responsibility for monitoring and maintaining this infrastructure. These assets continue consuming power, requiring security patches, and depreciating on your financial books, but they are no longer actively managed as a strategic resource. This creates multiple serious business problems. Performance degradation and security vulnerabilities develop because assets aren't receiving proper maintenance. Optimization opportunities disappear because you can't identify whether these resources could serve other initiatives. Unplanned replacement costs emerge when neglected assets fail earlier than necessary, disrupting operations that depend on them. The integration between IT asset management and strategic portfolio management transforms project completion from an accountability endpoint into a managed transition process. Instead of assets becoming orphaned when project close, they seamlessly move into a structured operational lifecycle workflow. When projects reach closure in portfolio management, the system automatically transitions associated assets into ongoing maintenance schedules. Ownership transfers to appropriate operational teams through defined workflows. Integration with incident and change management processes ensures continued support. The system maintains connections between assets and their original business purpose, preserving institutional knowledge for future technology decisions. This integration protects long-term technology investment by ensuring every asset continues generating value throughout its useful life, regardless of how original business initiatives evolve. Assets become managed resources rather than standard costs after project completion. So, next, we come to the third phase, inventory and optimization. The real-time asset visibility transforms into a strategic business intelligence. So inventory optimization. This phase often represents a breakthrough moment for organizations where they discover they actually have far more technology resources availability than they realized, but these resources have been invisible and underutilized. Most organizations operate with what I call inventory blindness. They know they own assets and they are paying for them, but they lack the real-time visibility needed to make intelligent optimization decisions. Can you, for example, confidently tell me right now exactly how many laptops your organization owns, where they are located, and what their utilization rates are? Or can you identify which software licenses are approaching renewal, which ones are underutilized, and which departments have redundant applications serving identical business functions? This kind of visibility gap creates a massive financial inefficiency that directly impacts your bottom line. When you can't see what you have, you buy equipment you already own. When you can track utilization patterns, you miss opportunities to reallocate underused resources. When you can't identify redundancies, you are paying multiple times for the same capability. These inefficiencies compound over time and represent millions in unnecessary spending for large organizations. ServiceNow can provide a centralized, continuously updated view of all assets, combining location, status, ownership, usage data, and so on. But what makes this revolutionary is that it's not passive reporting. It's active intelligence that enables data-driven optimization decisions. Imagine having a real-time visibility showing not just asset ownership, but performance trends and optimization opportunities. You can see that, for example, Munich has 30 unused laptops while Vienna waits 2 months for a procurement approval. You can identify software licenses not used for 6 months. You can spot equipment patterns that consistently underperform and require earlier replacement. This integration multiplies this value. When inventory intelligence connects with strategic portfolio management, project managers see available resources before initiating procurement requests. When it integrates with enterprise architecture, the architecture model infrastructure implications using real asset data rather than estimates. This transforms assets inventory from administrative burden into a strategic business advantage that enables faster, smarter, more cost-effective technology decisions across your entire organization. The next slide is going to be a perfect example of how this inventory intelligence creates immediate value when connected to your project management processes. This demonstrates exactly what I mean when I talk about transforming asset data into business intelligence that drives better decision making. Picture a situation that's probably familiar in your organization. Critical business initiative gets approved, perhaps expanding into a new market or launching a new product line. The project team begins planning and realizes they need 50 laptops for temporary field team conducting market research and customer interviews across multiple locations. Following traditional processes, the project manager submits a procurement request for 50 new laptops. Finance approves the budget, procurement initiates vendor negotiations, and everyone expects the typical 8 to 12-week procurement cycle. Meanwhile, the project timeline starts stretching, competitive windows begin closing, and business stakeholders go frustrated with what appears to be a simple technology requirement becoming a project bottleneck. Here's what makes this scenario particularly painful. While the project team waits for new equipment and burns through their timeline, the organization actually owns hundreds of laptops sitting unused in various offices globally. Munich might have 30 devices, Vienna could have 20, while Prague might have 15 from a department that downsized, for example. But without centralized visibility into asset availability and utilization, these resources remain invisible to project planning processes. The integration between asset inventory optimization and portfolio management creates intelligent resource matching instead of defaulting to new procurement for every project need. The system provides real-time visibility into existing asset availability across all locations and business units. When the project manager defines laptop requirements in portfolio management, the system automatically queries asset inventory to identify available resources matching technical specifications. It shows not just availability, but location, condition, and reallocation timelines as well. This transforms so many week procurement cycle into a few week reallocation process. The financial impact is dramatic. Instead of spending, I don't know, $75,000 on 50 new laptops, the organization might spend $5,000 on refurbishing and shipping existing devices. That's a significant percentage cost reduction flowing directly to project return on investment. This approach enables asset velocity optimization, keeping technology investment productive and generating value rather than sitting in between projects. So this was the third phase. Finally, let's complete our item value journey with the fourth phase, disposal, where even the end-of-life asset continue to create value and protect your organization. Disposal. Many organizations think this phase is simply about getting rid of old equipment, but that mindset creates massive business risks. But that mindset creates massive business risks and missed opportunities that can be completely avoided. Consider sobering realities. Over 60% of data breaches involving disposed equipment occur because organizations lack proper disposal processes. We are not just talking about compliance failures. We are talking about reputation destroying security incidents that proper disposal workflows could have prevented entirely. The business problem extends far beyond security risk. Assets sitting in storage rooms continue depreciating on your books while consuming physical space as well as administrative overhead. Environmental compliance risk can result in significant fines. Missed opportunities to recover value through asset resale or component recycling represent lost revenue. Audit findings emerge when disposal requirement doesn't meet regulatory requirements. ServiceNow treats disposal as strategic business service rather than an administrative task. When assets reach end of life in your system, the disposal process became systematic value preservation and risk mitigation. The system automatically initiates secure data wiping procedures with complete documentation and auditability. It coordinates with approved disposal vendors to maximize recovery value through risk level recycling. It generates compliance documentation satisfying regulatory requirements while updating all related systems to prevent security vulnerabilities, accounting disturbances. The integration value becomes clear when disposal actions connect with your broader service ecosystem. Disposal data feeds back into enterprise architecture planning, helping architects understand actual asset statuses, take statuses and ownership. It informs strategic portfolio management by providing realistic depreciation and replacement cost data for future project planning. It enhances procurement decisions by identifying which vendors and models provide the best long-term value. This completes our ITAM value journey from strategic procurement through proactive maintenance and intelligent optimization of the secure disposal. But remember, this isn't a linear journey. It's a continuous cycle where insights from each phase enhance all the others, creating exponential value when integrating with your broader service ecosystem. So this brings us to the end of today's session. I have a couple of more interesting use cases at the end of these documents, which I cannot present, unfortunately, due to time limitation, but the slide deck which will be shared with you will contain those as well, of course. I would like to say thank you for joining me on this journey through ServiceNow IT Asset Management and its powerful integrations. What I hope you've seen today is that ITAM isn't just about tracking your technology assets. It's about a business enabler that drives measurable value. The real power emerges when you connect these capabilities across your entire ServiceNow platform, creating an integrated ecosystem where strategic planning, asset management, and operational excellence work together. Thank you again for your time and look forward to your questions. I already see a question here. Let me check. What means no questions so far. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can also connect me on LinkedIn if you have any specific question which you would like to ask directly from me. But in case there is no question, I would like to say thank you for your participation and hope you enjoyed this presentation. Wish you a great rest of the day. Cheers. Bye-bye.